Hello everyone, back again with me, Gusti Indra Prana, with my student number 2405531027. In this video, I want to introduce you and explain to you one about material of physics is frictional force. We start with introduction. Introduction of frictional force is a relative force that opposes the motion of the tendency of motion between two surfaces that are in contact. Whenever an object moves or tries to move across a surface, friction acts in the opposite direction of that motion. Friction occurs because no surface is perfectly smooth. Even surfaces that look smooth have tiny irregularities. When two surfaces touch, these irregularities interlock, creating resistance. Friction is essential in everyday life. Without friction, we would not be able to walk, vehicle could not move safely, and objects would slide uncontrollably. However, friction can also be undesirable in some cases, such as in machine parts where it causes wear and energy loss. Next, after introductions, I have basic concept of frictional force. The basic concept of frictional force is that it is a resistive force that acts to oppose motions between two surfaces in contact. Whenever an object moves or tries to move across a surface, friction pushes in the opposite direction. Number 1 is friction opposes motion. Friction always acts against the direction of motion or attempt motion. If you push a box forward, friction acts backward. If a car wheels roll forward, friction on the tires pushes backward. Number 2 is friction depends on surface roughness. Every surface has microscopic bumps. When two surfaces touch, these bumps interlock. The rougher the surface, the larger the frictions. Number 3 is the friction depends on normal force. The frictional force increases when the force pressing the surfaces together, called normal force, increase. Heavier objects experience more friction. Number 4 is friction can prevent or slow motion. There are two main types. Is static frictions prevents motion from starting, and kinetic frictions works when objects are already moving. Number 5 is friction can be useful or harmful. Is useful walking, braking, and gripping objects, and harmful machine wear, heat generation, and energy loss. After basic concept, I have objective of frictional force. Objective of frictional force is number 1 is to understand how friction acts between two surfaces. Learn how friction opposes motion and why it occurs due to microscopic surface roughness. Number 2 is to identify different types of frictions. Distinguish between static frictions, kinetic frictions, and rolling friction. Number 3 is to analyze the factors that affect frictions. Understand how surface texture and normal force influence the amount of frictional force. Number 4 is to apply friction's concept in solving problems. Use formula and principles to calculate frictional force in physics problem and real-life application. Number 5 is to recognize the advantages and disadvantages of friction. Appreciate its importance in daily activities. Example is walking and driving, while understanding how it can cause energy loss, heat, and wear. And the last one is to explore methods for reducing or increasing friction. Learn how lubrication, smooth surfaces, or design changes can control friction depending on the need. The next, after objective, I have frictional force equation. In this frictional force, I have two equations you can use for frictional force. Number 1 is static frictional force. In static frictional force, you have micro s and Fn. In their micro s is coefficient frictional static and Fn is normal force. In the number 2 equation is the kinetic frictional force. In kinetic frictional force, the micro k is a coefficient frictional kinetic and Fn is normal force. You can use that two equation on frictional force with the static force and kinetic frictional force. Next, after frictional force equation, I have tools for a frictional force experiment you can use. The number 1 is wooden block, number 2 light rope, number 3 stopwatch, number 4 spring scale or force gauge, number 6 ruler or measuring tape. Now the next is additional weights with mesh variations, and the next is small pulley, and the next digital scales for measuring mass, and the last one is flat surface or platform. Is there a table or board? You can use it. The next after the tools is type for determining the coefficient of static friction. Number 1 is measure and record the mass the wooden block using a digital scale. Number 2, if using an inclined plane, adjust the inclined angle to a predetermined value using a protractor. Number 3, place the wooden block on the flat surface or inclined plane that has been prepared. Number 4, to measure the static friction force, pull the block slowly using a spring scale until the block just begins to move, then record the maximum pulling force at that moment. Number 5, prepare steps 3 until 4 for different surfaces type. And the last one is analyze the data to calculate the coefficient of static friction using the upper right physics formula. This is the table for static force in the surface type for the block is wood and wood. The block mass is 196. Number 2 is 325, and last one is 425, and the pulling force is 235.2. Number 2 is 684.6 and 1286. 232. And you can get coefficient of statics. Number 1 is 1.2, number 2 is 2.1, number 3 is 2.9. And the next is surface type for rubber and wood. The block mass for rubber and wood is 196, number 2 is 327, number 3 is 425. And you can get coefficient for statics in rubber and wood block is 1.1, 2.0, and 2.6. After this is step for determining the coefficient of kinetic frictions, and the step is 6. Number 1 is measure and record the mass of the wooden block using a digital scale. If using an equivalent plane, adjust the inclined angle to a predetermined value using a protractor. Number 3, place the wooden block on the flat or inclined surface that has been prepared. Number 4, to measure the kinetic friction force, pull the block with a constant velocity using a spring scale while it's already moving. Record the pulling force required to maintain the motion. Repeat steps 3 until 4 for different types of surfaces. And the last one is analyze the data to calculate the coefficient of kinetic friction using the correct physics formula. This is for kinetic frictions. The surface type block is wood and wood. The block mass number 1 is 195, number 2 is 327, number 3 is 425, and you can get coefficient kinetic. Number 1 is 0.4, 0.6, and 0.8. The next is surface type of block kinetic, rubber and wood. Number 1 block mass is 195 gram, number 2 is 327 gram, and the last one is 425 gram. And you can get coefficient of kinetic. Number 1 is 0.5, 1.0, 1.2. That's all. You can use an experiment for frictional force, and this is my reference for this material, this frictional force material of physics. Number 1 is Static and Kinetic Friction Introduction PDF, and number 2 is Module Praktikum Fisika Dasar Teknik Mesin Universitas Udayana 2025. That's all my video about frictional force. Thank you for watching and see you on the next video.